An Objective Reflection on Leadership by Michael Clark. The people who left the company I worked at left for management reasons every time. Never did I personally hear that it was about the work. It was always about the organization, not understanding the individual's needs to grow and transform as a part of the large amount of time the worker dedicated every day to the group. This has particularly contributed to the increase in worker turnover rates everywhere. A required leadership focus now is how to maintain intellectual property, the most expensive asset a company has. Hardware is cheap, humans are not. This is an abstracted example of my routine, showing how even without explicit authority in my last positions, I was able to be a leader and to anticipate issues through a well-contemplated approach and proactive community building. I'm an early riser because I'm smartest in the morning, so I am always on task at my desk by 7:30. I also don't like traffic. My projects ended up being multinational, so this became an unexpected advantage for both Japan and Europe. But that was only the start. The most miraculous thing that happened from this specific effort to be early was that colleagues began coming in early specifically to meet with me outside of the normal routine so we could speak quietly and uninterrupted. If it had happened just once, it would have been coincidence. It was not. I know because I asked. This example really epitomizes what I learned. If the people are fulfilled, the stories have fewer obstacles. The workers wanted to be there because of the attention it afforded them. On a typical day, first up for me in the morning is to check the scrum boards. So by the time others are in, I'm typically a couple of hours into the code, having long since completed updating status on any blockers. Code reviews are second, and something I always look forward to. More tests, please. Then on to my own complexity for the sprint. As I work, I diary my hours in 15 to 30-minute increments. I've done this for almost 10 years now. This is experiential data and has been very useful many times by myself and others. As people trickle in before stand-up at 10:30, I'm always greeted. My biggest goal is to facilitate others, and they know it. We hit stand-up time, standing in front of the board. We see what's up, and everyone gets 30 seconds. I'm always prepared because I'm there early, and I use every opportunity to accomplish two goals. First, be inspirational, and second, download as much information as possible. I probably already know the story is being hacked at. I likely help write them. I typically already know what the status is from the board and code reviews, but there's nothing like a 10-second advertisement from a human being live, being able to give you a sense of where things really stand. As my day goes on, I always make sure to personally reach out to each person individually in my group and say things like, "Is there anything I can do for you?" Or often, "Can I help you with ticket BlueJ125 in some way?" I find these two tactics very helpful. If I am proactive, that attention is noted and has two clear effects. One, the individual feels validated, and two, the individual feels bounded. Someone else really knows what's up and is actually interested. This approach became an even greater asset because typically my upstream were far less informed than I was on not only the work, but about the life balance of the group. There are some non-daily routines worth mentioning too. Pre-planning. This is a single group member from each group talking about progress for the next sprint, so tickets can be prepped. Pre-planning. Group heads then pre-commit to complexity for the next sprint. Post-mortem, we close the last sprint and discuss it. Then planning and start. An all-inclusive vote is held. Everyone commits to what they're going to do for the next sprint, and then we kick off the next sprint. These practices clearly make the difference. Doing these structured meetings all but eliminates all other required meetings. Less is definitely more when it comes to meetings. Profit comes from being on task, not talking about being on task. I've had to lead from a backseat so many times now that I think it's appropriate for me to express my managerial skills up front. rather than as an afterthought next to my 30 years of engineering history. I'm that supervisor you always wanted. Thank you for your time.